Now watch your mouth, pick up your weights, and grab your bags. It's time to go to school of weights with Silly Guines, otherwise known as Shiloh. In today's video, we are working on another pull day in the accumulation phase of our training. This is going to be a 4 to 6 week block where we work on upping our total volume, working with training maxes, and hypertrophy. So, if you're interested and excited and ready to grow stronger, grow muscle, and up those numbers, make sure to stick around for the full video to get all the tips and tricks as we go through our routine today. So, let's dive in. And yes, I know upping strength and upping your numbers is the same thing. However, we could look at it in a different way, like upping the numbers as the amount of velocity and power that we are able to increase by shortening the distance and time that we are able to do it, and overall becoming more explosive, and upping or lowering those numbers in comparison to just getting stronger. Two totally different things, two totally different mechanisms. Anyway, enough ranting. What we're doing is we're clearly warming up. We've learned our lesson. After that second run of triphasic, I completely understand that my body needs more of a warm-up. I'm just at that point. If I don't warm up, there's a real good chance something's getting pulled. So I have enough things that are pulled and enough things I got to rehab, but also I need to train around them because I have goals that I want to reach, and the last thing I want to do is take more time off. I'm not a fan of that. And honestly, I don't know who is. I don't know who's a fan of taking time away from the gym. I mean, I get it if you're not very passionate about it, that you don't mind taking time off from the gym, which is just fine if you're just getting into it. But for my people out there who are used to lifting, if you don't do it, your day's ruined. You understand. You understand how it feels not to get the day in. You understand if you miss part of your routine throughout the week, it's just horrendous. So, anyway, we've warmed up with some bands. We've warmed up our lats, our rear delts, external rotators. So, overall, we're just making sure everything's nice and tight and ready to go. Past few days, I've been sitting a lot, so I'm really stiff. So, I'm just trying to get everything nice and mobile, get some blood flow to it. That way I have better range of motion, better contractility of the muscles. So we're doing bent over shrugs to make sure that I have plenty of scapular movement and engagement to keep the bar nice and tight, as well as lat engagement to keep the bar tight. And of course, any of my glutes and hamstrings to warm up, because with sitting, everything's in a stretched position for a long time, so they eventually rest and stay at a more lengthened position, which makes them basically it makes them weaker because they don't have as much kinetic potential, elastic potential, action potential. It's one of the three. I can't remember right now. Even though I have plenty of time to go look it up, I'm not going to. So we just need to make sure everything's warmed up, primed, because they're underactive right now. And, we're warming up the upper back, the lower back, the lats, the glutes, the hamstrings. And now we're really emphasizing the hamstrings and the glutes because I can already tell they are not awake. They are sleepy. And honestly, doing deadlift, you kind of need your hamstrings and glutes to be active and awake if you want to pull some numbers, which you'll see later in this video that I did not warm them up enough and I should have taken more time to warm them up. It was a bad call. You live and you learn. I still hit some of the numbers that I wanted to, given the RPE was much higher than I wanted it to be. If you guys haven't given this exercise a try, single leg glute bridges, give them a try. This unilateral work allows you to work on any sort of imbalances from left to right, as well as works on a little bit of stability, and it adds a lot more core into it to engage to make sure that there's no internal external rotation of the hips. So the core has to stay really tight, and so do the glutes. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's a great carryover for a warm-up, especially for squats or deadlifts. Give it a shot. Promise. You will not regret it. Now we're getting into deadlifts, so we're just going to do a few reps with a nice light bar, just a little bit of weight so I can get down to the depth. Really wish that I had some of those 10-pound weights that are the same size as the 45s. That way I can really warm up with the right range of motion without going too deep or not going deep enough, which, if you go too deep, that's just fine. But it doesn't prime me for the proper form. However, this does. So we're just warming up, getting a few reps, kind of working on the concentric, getting the breathing pattern ready, keeping the lats nice, tight, engaged, working on feeling it in the hamstring and squeezing the glutes. I have to say, by this point, I could already tell that the weights were going to be a lot heavier today than they should. And, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I don't get enough sleep. Sometimes I don't get enough food. Sometimes I'm not hydrated enough. There were a lot of factors that went into today for it not being the best, but oh well. So I honestly don't know why I face away from the camera when I start. As you can tell, that was a thought that crossed my mind. I need to quit sticking my butt out at the camera. I need views, but not that bad. So now we're facing the camera, and we've up to 225. Again, it's not heavy, but for some reason it was feeling not Paquito today. So anyway, now we're up to 275, and now I could really tell that today was going to be a lot more rough than I had anticipated, especially based off my volume and effort last week. And everything's just fine. It's just my body was stiff and I didn't warm it up enough, and I was also didn't get enough hydration. Usually these numbers go up really easy. They have for the past few weeks. This week was just very much a different story. Now here's a fun part. I nearly passed out. So I took a knee real quick, got down low, so if I did fall over, it would not hurt as bad. Right now I'm looking around because I can't feel anything. My body just went completely numb. And it was a very interesting feeling, and it's about to happen after this rep too. So you'll see that I'm struggling, and I think looking back now, it's because I held my breath. And so go ahead and kneel down. My body gets all tingly, gets warm, can't see, and it feels like I could just straight up fall asleep. Like it's that same sensation of like you're exhausted and you're ready to just straight up take a nap. That's the exact same feeling that I had. And so I had this hunch that I was just struggling too much, and it was because of my grip. So I put on some straps, and look how much quicker the bar moves. I look at the camera because I'm like, of course, that's what it was. So makes sense. But back to the overall conversation of the routine and the workout. Since you're here, if you're still watching at this point, maybe you want to learn something. So the accumulation phase is basically to work up your total volume. This volume allows you to have overall more work capacity. You can perform more reps. You can do more weight. You can go for longer durations in a workout. Helps with strength endurance, helps with hypertrophy. The rest of this workout is purely hypertrophy based. I'm not doing crazy negatives. I'm not going to complete failure. I will get there. Right now, I'm just trying not to re-injure myself, and I'm just gradually getting back into it. Last week and the week before was part of the accumulation phase, but it was mostly an icebreaker to get back into it. So I'm trying to get a good range of motion on these pull-ups. Side fact, you can't really hypertrophy too much while doing deadlift. At least the lower back doesn't hypertrophy too much, but the glutes and hamstrings will appreciate. So we're doing not pull-ups. My goodness, we're doing lat pull-downs. I'm feeling extra wide here. My arms look like they have no size. I'm definitely not feeling my physique right now, but my lats do look phenomenal. I do have a nice Dorito shape to me. So we're doing some more pull-downs now that I want to say it correctly. And we're trying to get a good range of motion. I'm really trying to grab on with the pinkies and focus into external rotation. Really trying to get those lats and external rotators more engaged to kind of help build that back up. It's something that I know I'm lacking in because when I do it, it exhausts me way quicker. So a little bit of a negative there. Definitely trying to get into it, feel it nice. So one of my favorite exercises, which was not my favorite today, is shrugs. We started off pretty light, 225 for shrugs. Definitely just getting a good stretch and a good contraction. I'm not feeling them here too well. I had to do another set off camera to kind of stimulate the traps, the upper traps to be more specifically. And by this one, this was my last set at 315, which again, still not too heavy for shrugs. I started feeling it a little bit. So anyway, some days you feel it, some days you don't, and you really just kind of got to go with the flow and give yourself a little leniency and, just enjoy the process. You have great days and sometimes you don't. Now we're working on closed grip rows, and we're really trying to get those lats nice and tight. We're trying to squeeze the shoulder blades. We're really just trying to get a good stretch and good contraction. We are upping the intensity slightly more on here. The first set definitely wasn't as intense. The next set, I think this is the one I recorded. I really try to get a better stretch in here. Clearly, I'm not working on the eccentric as much. There it is. There's the eccentric. So a little bit of a pause at the top. Really good stretch. Really good hold. Slow eccentric motion. It's phenomenal. So overall, if you're looking to grow a muscle or any muscle or all your muscles, you need to work on intensity, range of motion, and time under tension. Right? You can lift a 1 pound dumbbell for minutes upon minutes upon minutes, but it's not going to really make you grow. So if you find this perfect blend for intensity and time under tension, your muscles will grow rather quickly relative to your diet, your nutrition, your sleep, your genetics, and overall how well you're recovering. So lastly, we're doing some rear delt rows, because my rear delts are underdeveloped because I've neglected them far too much and for far too long, which has probably led to some of the injuries. So we're really trying to focus on the contraction, the range of motion, everything. It feels just fine. But yeah, if you want to grow your muscle, time under tension and intensity and range of motion, prioritize those three along with form, and you'll see a massive difference. Just make sure you take care of your nutrition, and you'll see a night and day difference. Just trust the process. Push yourself and just go along with it, and just don't give up. Just keep moving forward and you'll see it. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining me for another video. I appreciate you being here with me and enjoying another video. So stay grinding, stay smiling, and of course, stay silly. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Till then, later.